Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday afternoon, and it's time for another episode of Jiles McCoy Live, your spot for tech, hi-fi, and gaming. Today, we've got a really cool episode. We're going to talk to a gentleman about a business that I think in the hi-fi and tech space is really, really cool. They do a lot of fun things, home theater, hi-fi, home automation, and I'm talking about audio advice. So joining us is Scott Newnham, and you're CEO of the company, right? You're the big cheese, sir. Is that correct?
Well, I just try to serve all of our people really, really well.
I love it. I love it. Maybe to get things started, you could tell us a little bit about who you are and why people should care.
Yeah. So audio advice has been around for about 45 years. So we've been selling audio and theater products for a long, long time. But what we're most well known for right now is our home theater and audio business. That there's a website, audioadvice.com, that people can go to design home theaters. And we've got a tool that we'll look at maybe a little bit later to help people do that. They can design audio systems, but we essentially have every product you could possibly imagine in audio, whether it's headphones, Bluetooth, $300 speakers to $50,000 pair of speakers, and everything in between that we sell on the website. We have a price guarantee, and we have support that we can talk about a little bit later, and free shipping and all those kinds of things. But at our core, the whole business is made up of a whole bunch of people that love audio and love home theater. And so we've gotten to be well known from that, and we have a show called Audio Advice Live we can talk about a little bit as well that we put on each year that brings people from all around the nation and to Raleigh. We also have two physical stores. So we have an iconic store in Raleigh that's been around for the full 45 years that most people on the East Coast know about. And if you wanted to see, lots of different theaters and audio, people would come there. And we also have one in Charlotte. So that's sort of the thumbnail of who we are.
Right on. Yeah, and let's dig a little bit into the business and the sales piece, right? Because I think it's really interesting, and I really appreciate and like that you haven't made like a switch, say, oh, we're an e-commerce company and we're just gonna not have stores. You have these flagship locations which are spectacular. It's not like the typical hi-fi shop that's like in a little corner somewhere. You walk in, it's like 2 rooms and there's like a desk in the corner and they just have some speakers out front. Can you describe a little bit about kind of the scale of your big shop?
Yeah, so our stores are not small audio boutiques. These are very large stores that have multiple theaters, lots of audio rooms. So oftentimes what happens, people will drive from multiple states to come because they want to see everything in one location. So you can see almost every major brand. You can hear them. So we have a full house built into these stores, so you can experience smart home. You can walk in and you can see, whether it's a Samsung frame coming down on a mantle mount or all the lights turning off. When you set your alarm, it's turning off the televisions and all the light. It shows everything. So whether someone's in the theater, audio, or smart home, these are really large stores, and they draw people from very, very far away to come experience them.
Yeah, and that's really exciting because for the aficionado of home theater and hi-fi, this it almost becomes like a destination. If you're ever going to be out on the East Coast, you got to stop by and see it, right? Particularly since you have these iconic brands, I guess you would call them. I mean, big players in the industry, and ones that people should be considering if they're going to make an investment, right? And what better way to make that investment than making informed decisions, right? And how do you become informed? You got to hear and see and smell this stuff, right? You got to look at it. You be like, okay, how does this thing work? What is mantle mount, right? I'll have Samsung on the show later this year, along with mantle mount as well, to talk about their gear. And the things that they always say is that, we can talk about it here, but it's really great to see it and experience it, right? Because these pieces of technology are really transformative when you put them in your home. There's no better way to experience that than at your showroom, because it's there, right? How many places are going to have a frame on a mantle mount that people can come experience, right? Not many. If you're not at CEDIA, you probably won't get to see it. So this is great. But to extend that even further, you guys said, okay, stores aren't enough. We have a whole country we can serve. So How long ago did the e-commerce platform, the web store, get started?
Yeah. So we had a vision that's going on 8 years ago now that essentially we were looking at adding stores. So that was the original impetus was we think we've got a great platform. We love what we're doing. We love our customers. We had good growth. And we eventually said, could we produce as close an experience to what you can do in a store online? And we, as you might imagine, we spent multiple years brainstorming it and analyzing it. And to do that meant we would have to have a website that's not like a classic little Shopify website where you've got, little buttons everywhere and you're selling everything the same as Amazon would. It meant we'd have to build web pages that describe products with ultra high res images. We'd have to have videos of the products. We'd have to have people talking about the products. We'd have to have much more in-depth descriptions. And we have to do that on a lot of products. And we would have to have people that could get on the phone and jump on Team Viewer with you, show you products live, right? And then if you bought something and you were installing a theater and you wanted to do Direct Live or you wanted to do Arc Genesis calibration, that we could jump on with you and remotely do it, right? So how do we replicate a store experience for people who don't live near a store? And so that's what we set out to do. And we spent a lot of time, money, and effort doing it. And I think for people that have been to audiodevice.com, they can see it. Like it is unlike anything else you see out there. The one downside to it that's actually quite interesting. If you think about in the old days, it would take a long time for a web page to load, like over AOL
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. And now our speeds have gotten fast enough that doesn't happen. Well, our web pages are heavier than most because everything is in high res and the pages are longer. There's more detail. You can go, see videos. So our web pages, if you're measuring these things in milliseconds, ours take more milliseconds than most people, but they're way more in depth. So anyways, the whole concept was provide that kind of experience. So to your point, someone can experience on our site today, smart home. So we've got lots of videos of smart homes that we've shot videos of inside now, or if they're learning about theaters and they say, I really don't understand how this thing would fit in my home. And, do I have the throw distance to put this projector in? All of that can be done live in tools on our website very easily in a simple way. Anyways, we think we've replicated it really well. And the results in terms of the progression of that business, both in the United States, but the website's used worldwide to educate people, although we only sell in the United States. But it's grown tremendously. So it's been a lot of fun.
I think this is a good segue to actually take a look at the website. And in particular, I think the home theater design tool would be something really awesome that we can check out. So let's go ahead and jump into that.
Perfect.
So we've gone to the Audio Advice webpage. You can see that on your screen now, and we're in the home theater section. Scott, can you tell us a little bit about what we got going on here?
Yeah, so the concept of this page is everything home theater related on one page. So if you were building a theater and you're a DIY person, this is a place you want to go live and spend time. And in fact, many new companies entering the installation space that are building a new CDA company or new home theater installation company often will use this page a tremendous amount to learn themselves and to design theaters. But you'll see here, this sort of shows you what's available on the page, the design tool, buyer's guides, video showcases, et cetera. But the thing that we're most famous for is this patented home theater design tool. And the challenge we faced, this was sort of at the very beginning of COVID, we had been working on a tool to speed up the process of designing theaters. And as you might imagine, people were building really nice theaters, might pay $3,000 to a designer, and we might go back and forth for weeks designing what they wanted to do. And we were using Visio and calculations and everything else. So what we decided to do was make this for free. And we originally only did it in the United States, but we had so many people interested worldwide that we added this metric button here where
Right
people worldwide can click metric and it'll switch everything there. But just to show you really quickly what happens, you can literally just lay out your room. You can set your width by dragging and dropping here like this. Set your height, everything else. Then go into seating and you could say, I want 2 seats per row, 3 seats per row. How many rows? We got 2 rows sitting here. Maybe my riser height, I don't have as much room for as much riser height. So I could change my riser height to be 8 inches. Notice something interesting here, Giles. When I went to 8-inch riser height, the screen moved up.
Oh, yeah. No, it's taking into account the people's point of view and everything. It's really nice. Yeah.
Correct. So it's automatically seeing what the viewing angles are and making sure that it will play right over someone's head and so that you can see everything. The same is true with depth, right? If I change the riser depth, it actually moves the screen to make sure that you can see over people's heads. It's those calculations, it used to be, okay, let's lay it out. We'll do the couch. We'd send it to the customer. And then they'd say, no, my designer really wants the chairs farther back. And this will literally do it live. Or you could change, your primary row. Let's say I want to make the front row the primary row, and you can pull the chairs. Anything that turns red, let's say when someone uses the tool, means it's out of Dolby spec. As soon as it gets out of red, so now it is back in Dolby spec. So you don't have to be an engineer to do this. Watch, if I move it up too close, you'll see eventually stuff will start to turn red. It's out of spec. And notice it's also moving all the speakers in the room.
Right.
And they're all positioning correctly for where that primary seat is, which is, obviously pretty cool. So you can set your distance either by moving it here or dragging and dropping, set your aisle position. And then the video setup, you can do a flat panel TV, but the cool stuff is the projectors. We actually put every projector that you would want to do in here. So let's just take a Sony, and I can choose the actual projector. So let's put in a Sony 6000.
Oh yeah, that 6000 is nice.
And maybe I want a 2.4 screen, so I'm going to go widescreen. What it does now is it shows me the throw distance. So it's showing me where in the room this could be at the very front and back. So I could grab this projector and move it anywhere here and see where it would be. And we've actually brought all these projectors into our lab and tested them, because as you know, the specs that the manufacturers give you aren't always 100% on, but these specs are 100% on.
Yeah, and this is for folks that haven't gone through the process of trying to put together a home theater. So, I've got a retrofit room in my basement that I turned into a home theater. And the most painful part was trying to go through the process of understanding, where should I mount the projector to make sure that the throw is appropriate for the screen size. So this tool is outstanding, because every projector is different, right? It's not like all projectors have the same throw, right? Everything has different lenses, and everybody has a different screen size and a different size room. So this is a very important calculation that, if you mess up, can really make you sad. So
it's interesting you said
this feature is awesome.
The other thing it's doing, and you probably ran into this when you did yours. So, it changes the height from the ceiling depending on the size of the screen and all the other specs. This is changing that. And when you click save and view specs, it will also tell you the exact length of the rod that you need to hold it from the ceiling. Like all these things that when you do your own theater that you just sweat bullets on, because you're like, oh, I hope I got this right. It's doing those calculations and giving them to you. So everything that you see here, when you click this save and view, it's going to tell you exactly where these speakers are going to go, how high that screen is going to be, what the rod will be, you name it. It's literally, because we originally designed it, for our own team. So you can see your immersion level. It's going to tell you how immersive the experience is. And you'll see as I bring the chairs back, it's reducing the immersion level and giving you the viewing angle. So this, you can relate to a THX or SMPTE viewing angles. In the old days, Giles, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, it used to be everyone recommended not a very wide viewing angle. And the feeling was, you didn't want to be too immersive. Now we almost never install a theater where someone comes back. In fact, I might even say never, where they come back and say, oh, the screen was too big. And so viewing angles are getting wider and wider, and we're getting to higher immersion levels. So as I move this forward, and you see it gets to extreme, we have more and more people going at, full over 50-degree viewing angle.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that spec I think is a bit antiquated in today's world, because people want it out into their peripheral vision almost.
Yep.
And I found that if you talk about televisions, the number one driver of satisfaction for general market, right, is the size of the television, right? That's the number one metric that at least I've come across, and I'm sure you guys have a lot more experience than me. But when I hear people complain, they're like, "Oh, I just bought the wrong size; it was too small." It's never, "Oh, my black level wasn't where I wanted it to be at," right? Because when you have your screen up at home, you don't have something to directly compare against, so that becomes a lot more difficult to see and understand. But you can never get away from the size. So I think that's awesome that you're considering those really wide viewing angles.
Yeah. So, it's all the things we would care about when we sat with customers. The other thing you can do, you can choose your screen gain in here. So, a lot
Mhm.
of people, very standard is a 1.3 screen gain. That's then going to calculate, given that projector and where the projector is in here, what your brightness is. And it'll tell you if you're in spec or not for SDR and HDR. So, I mean, the amount of time savings, and I would say, you may have people that listen to your show that are not DIY, but maybe they're installers. And I would encourage you, like, if this is all helpful to you, just come use it and use it for your customers. We spent the time and effort to build this. And yes, our DIY customers use it and our own salespeople use it, but we're perfectly happy. I would say probably there's at least 100 stores out there that install theaters today that use this on a regular basis for their customers. So you can, and the audio setup's really cool. We've taken it to this. So you see, like, you've got the 3 front speakers here. I could change these to be in wall, and it moves the speakers. And then I could even adjust to a transparent screen.
Mhm.
And it will show you where those go and tell you where to do the cutouts given the size of your screen. And then obviously, if I'm going to do, in walls for the front, maybe I want to switch my main surrounds to be in wall. You can even add in front wides. So that was an addition we had later. So if I put in wall wides, it knows where these wides should go correctly. And then I can add in-wall rears. You can choose number of subs. And then Atmos, let's just jump to 4 Atmos because this gets somewhat interesting. I'll show you from the top view.
Yeah, so you're starting to talk my language now. So that's starting to look like something that I like. Although you might want to change that number of subwoofers to allow like up to 10 or
Actually, it's really funny. When we ask people, like, what can we do better? Obviously, people go, oh, give me 3 or 4 subs. In this tool, we're not actually placing the subs. So we originally just set it at 2 because it would be easier to show it.
Yeah.
And then when people talk to our team, because anyone uses this, they get an email that has all the specs, but it says, look, if you want to do a 30-minute call with any of our designers, we'll just do that for free with you. And we'll jump on the phone and help people figure out the design and work with them. But at that point, if they did 4 subs, we would design where those subs would go.
Right on.
But what's really interesting, and this is my favorite part, there's like 16 patents on this, different claims on this system that we were doing. We were designing it, but my favorite one is this one. This is the last little slider on the whole thing. And you'll see, we've literally built this in, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. What this slider does that people always struggled with when we would meet with them is we'd say, do you want this to be perfect for your one seat? Or do you want this to be great for all seats? Feel like, oh, I want both, right? And so, but there are some people that say, look, mainly this is my man cave. I want it great for me. And when other people come sit with me, they don't really care about the audio as much. And if that's true, you leave the slider in this left position. If you wanted it optimized for all seats, you'd pull it way over to the right. And notice what's happening to the Atmos as I do that. The problem in the first position right here is that, and you see our primary seat's this front seat. So we're at the correct angles for the front Atmos there, you see, and we're at the correct angles for the rear Atmos. But the people in the rear row are actually hearing the rear Atmos in front of them, which is not good. So if I now pull this over to all seats, you'll see that the rear Atmos are now behind the rears. The front Atmos are in front of the fronts, right? And if you look from side to side, the rights are all on the right and the lefts are on the left, right? What people will often do in the most used position, and this gets used, thousands of times per month as people build these things. If I slide it back, most people will take it to the position where they can get it where it hits all seats, but it's not orange anywhere. And so it's as close as you can get to being perfect here, but still allows every seat to have
right.
So you and I have just really rapidly basically built a theater, and we can actually see what is the dispersion of the sound in here, and we can turn that on and off. We can get all our rulers to pop up. So showing us, let's say you're sitting with a designer doing this. Oh, this is 93 inches. This is 127 inches to the riser. All the sort of core stuff you would need to know real time. So anyways, and that is the tool itself. And then as you might imagine, we've got every buying guide from, this is a cool one. By the way, if you already have a theater here, go in. If you've got one and you just want to make it better, we've got everything from reducing your rattles. We have a video that will help you set lip sync. It does a little and projector calibration, test patterns, everything you could possibly imagine to just improve your theater or build your theater and set it up. And then installation videos. If you just want to see real time, we do a lot of these. We do time lapses. So you can see us putting in the risers and how we pre-wired it and how we put in a star ceiling and those types of things, and then inspiration gallery. So, and then everything you can shop home theater related. So that's the home theater page.
Yeah, that's beautiful. One question I have is when you go through the effort to design the theater in this page, is there any possibility that you can have it create, you can give it a budget and say, spit me out an example bill of materials, right? What is a set of gear that might work for this room that totals $100,000 or something like that?
So we considered having a drop down where you could choose different budgets and it would put speakers in that did it. What we ultimately decided was that we were able to build this thing to make it so simple that anyone could go, as you just saw, we clicked most of the buttons. And that when we got to budget and what to use, we would do that interactively with the customer. So imagine
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So what happens, and our people actually, for people that use this and they want to build a really great theater, and we will do full 3D designs of your actual room, meaning your carpet, where your windows are, where your doors are. And then you tell us, this is the budget I've got, and we'll design the theater. And as you can see up here, everything we sell, this is this really interesting thing that we started doing 10 years ago. Everything we sell is the exact same price as Best Buy and Amazon every day. So we've got 5,000 products we saw on this website, from cables, speakers, projectors. And, we want to be able to have people know, like, if I'm buying it, I'm getting the best price. But that includes really high performance stuff. So it's every speaker you could imagine, and, pretty much everything out there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think at this point, we're running a little low on time. And one topic that I really want to cover today is another aspect of your business it's not retail, but it's your show.
Yes.
Right. And this has turned into a really important event every year for people that are in, the 2-channel and the CI, custom installer home theater space, right?
That's right. So, what we've done, one of the concepts that we had was that, there were a few shows in the United States where people that really wanted to go see all things audio could go. And early on in the pandemic, one of the biggest shows was closed down because of the pandemic. That created an opportunity for us to say, you know what, we will take that slot and build a very big show where everyone can see everything from, let's say you're thinking about buying a pair of headphones. Where can you go put on a $300 pair, a $500 pair, a $1,000 pair, and a $3,000 pair, listen to them all, and decide what you want? And the answer is very few places. And so this show has, imagine a section that's all headphones. It's got a section that's all your major Bluetooth devices. It has audio rooms that have $500 powered speakers, so you can listen, from room to room to all the major brands. And if you are on the ultra high end, last year we had a $350,000 pair of speakers that were the only pair in the world flown in from Switzerland. Anyways, this year from August 4th through August 6th, so we always do it on a weekend, so people can come on a Friday, Saturday, and or Sunday. The show is in downtown Raleigh. It's this really cool area. We basically buy out the entire Sheraton Hotel, and the whole hotel is filled with audio, related things. But what makes it really unique, for people that are really into this, you'll know there's a big show in Chicago called Expona. This is the second largest audio show behind Expona, but what is different than Expona and every other show is that we actually build theaters into the hotel. So historically, there's been no way to have people walk in and go listen to a full JBL synthesis theater and then go next door and listen to a B&W theater and then go next door and listen to a KEF theater, or go see Sony projectors and JVC projectors in theaters. What we do, we send our install teams in and we will build these theaters in. So imagine we're actually putting Atmos speakers and building them into conference room and ballroom ceilings. And you can literally go experience all this in one fell swoop. This year, we're adding something very different as well, which is we're going to have on Friday night, I do a keynote and just talk about the state of the industry. And there'll be announcements of new products that are coming out. But when I do that, when I finish, we actually have a band. So the ticket and coming in also will have a full concert that it's going to be happening. So anyways, last year, it blew away our expectations. And this year, in terms of number of people that came and the vendor response, this year will be even bigger. And it's going to be an incredible experience.
Yeah, the word that I got last year was because I didn't attend, was why you should have been there, dude. Everybody's like, it was amazing. It was the most awesome thing ever. And I'm trying to figure out how I can get out there this year. But this is the big buzz, right? So from a show perspective, this is the one that I hear everybody talking about. Oh, like if you haven't been to a show, if you want something new, this is the one. You got to go check this thing out. It's really cool. So that's exciting. Now you said it was going to be in August. If people want to attend, is it a traditional kind of you buy tickets and then you can buy them earlier at the door? How do people attend? How do they get set up?
Yeah, so let me, I will go back and present real quick, and I'm going to share my screen,
Sure.
and I will show you. I'll take you to the page that you can go sign up. Okay, so if you go to live.audioadvice.com, everything about the show exists here. And by the way, this is live from last year's show, so you're getting a sense of what it was all about. But you'll go here and you can choose attend, and it will show you the full schedule. We have there's panels going on. So there's a panel on video for home theater. There's a panel on audio for home theater, and we've got experts from all around the world that come into these. There's a panel on turntables, and then there's a panel on audio as well that go on throughout the weekend. But you'll see all like the concerts going on, the different rooms, exhibitors, who all they all are. But you can literally click here and register, and you'll see all sorts of stuff here. What's going on, all the industry pros that will be there. So it's going to be fun. You'll see a countdown here that's happening as well. If you're coming from out of town, I would encourage people to register now, because it will sell out the hotels. So not only will the Sheraton sell out, but the Marriott is right next door. That will sell out from this as well, probably in the coming weeks.
Well, that is outstanding. And I've been watching the video clips as you're talking, and I've seen a number of personalities in the hi-fi world, right? So it looks like a lot of the most, or if not all, of the big players are going to absolutely be there, and there is some exceptional gear that this looks really cool. I would highly recommend anybody out there, if you can go to a show in this time frame, get to the show. It looks really awesome.
Yeah, and if you're, maybe you've been trying to decide between 3 pair of speakers, it is likely you can come hear them all here in one spot. Or maybe you've heard about Kaleidoscape but never seen it, or maybe you've heard about Mad VR and like, what is this Mad VR thing? It's could help my video. All of these types of things will be there. And you want to see record cleaners, you'll see multiple types of ways to clean your vinyl. I mean, you name it, you can pretty much experience it all. Many other dealers that sell will be there as well. So if you're listening to this and you love listening to Jiles and you are in the business, don't feel like, oh, I can't come. It will be obviously jammed with consumers, but there's also a lot of people that are in this business that come just because it's their opportunity to have a fun weekend with all the brands, and also see everything all in one spot.
Yeah, that's absolutely outstanding. Like I said, if you can make a show, definitely go to this one. You'll see everything, and it might be horrible because you'll be like, oh, I've got to spend $5,000 on this thing that I have to have. But there are worse problems to have. All right, we are at the end of our half hour. Scott, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and telling us not only about the business, but also about the show, right? And I think these things work really well together. And I think there's a lot of great synergies that bring value to we, the consumers, right? So, whether it's understanding how we might build our theater, or understanding how these products work together, or being hands-on at the show and getting to listen and touch things, thank you so much for building this for all of us.
You bet. Thank you, Giles. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody out there that's watching, thank you for watching. Thanks for joining. Every week, Friday, you'll see a new episode. So make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell, click all the buttons, and do all those things. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.